Imagine a world where the flight of a bird could decide the fate of a war. A world where the still warm entrails of a sacrificed animal could reveal your destiny. This wasn't a fantasy novel. This was the reality for the ancient Romans. Forget crystal bowls and tarot cards. The Romans had something far more complex, bizarre, and frankly, disturbing. They believed the universe was constantly sending them messages from the gods, hidden in everything from lightning strikes to the organs of animals. Have you ever wondered how an empire this powerful made its biggest decisions? How they knew when to march their armies, when to build a temple, or even when to crown an emperor? The answer wasn't just in their senate or their war rooms. It was in the chilling world of Roman divination. Rome didn't just run on laws and soldiers. It ran on signs. Today, we're stepping into that world to uncover the sacred rituals and hidden secrets that shaped the destiny of the greatest empire in history. 2D Romans. Nothing was random. Every single event, no matter how small, carried meaning. A strange bird in the sky could halt a sacred ceremony. A sudden clap of thunder could end a politician's speech. A vivid dream could send an emperor into a state of panic. The gods were always speaking, and it was humanity's job to learn how to listen. Let's start with their most prestigious and perhaps strangest method. This was the art of reading the will of the gods through the behavior of birds. The Romans saw birds as sacred messengers, creatures that connected the heavens with the earth, and every single detail mattered. The type of bird, the direction of its flight, the number of birds seen together, even the sound of their calls. An eagle soaring to the right might be a sign of divine approval. A raven flying to the left could signal impending disaster, but it wasn't that simple. Each species had its own specific meaning. The official priests who performed this art, the augurs, held immense power. A single augur could delay an election or stop a military campaign just by declaring the signs were unfavorable. To make sense of the sky, they created invisible sacred spaces called a template. Picture a giant, invisible box drawn across the sky, divided into divine zones. If a bird crossed into the wrong zone at the wrong time, the entire plan for the day could be scrapped. There are historical accounts of generals ready to lead their legions into battle, only to be stopped dead in their tracks because an augur announced, "The birds do not approve." An entire empire at the mercy of a feathered omen. But if you think reading bird flight is strange, prepare yourself for Haruspicy. This was Rome's darkest, bloodiest, and most shocking form of divination. The art of reading animal organs. Before any major decision, a sacred animal, usually a sheep, was sacrificed. A priest, called a Haruspicy, would immediately open the carcass and examine the organs. The most important organ was the liver. The liver was considered the center of life and emotion, a direct link to the gods. Every mark, every discoloration, every tiny bump held a message. A healthy, smooth liver meant the gods were pleased. A dark spot was a warning. A deformed or diseased liver could mean catastrophe, military defeat, or even the death of a ruler. To help with interpretation, priests used bronze models of livers, covered in markings, like an ancient, gruesome map. They would compare the real organ to this chart to find its meaning. And here's the truly disturbing part. If the reading was bad, they didn't just accept it. They performed another sacrifice, and another. And another. They would continue sacrificing animals until, finally, the gods gave them a favorable sign. The Roman legions may have conquered the known world, but behind every major decision, there were blood-soaked rituals whispering advice from beyond. Not all Roman divination was so violent, though some of it was shrouded in mystery, shadows, and dreams. This brings us to the oracles, mysterious figures believed to channel the gods directly. The most famous was the Sibyl of Cumae, an ancient priestess who lived in a dark cave. She would enter a trance-like state and deliver prophecies that could shape the fates of kingdoms. When she gave her predictions, she would write them on leaves and scatter them across the cave floor. Visitors then had to scramble to collect the leaves and piece the message together, hoping the wind hadn't mixed them up into nonsense. Imagine your entire future written on a handful of fragile leaves, at the mercy of a breeze. Dream interpretation was another incredibly powerful tool. The Romans believed that dreams were visits from God's ancestors, or spirits. Some emperors refused to make any decisions until they had received guidance. In a dream, others lived in terror of nightmares that foretold betrayal or death. Dream interpreters became so popular that even common soldiers would consult them before a battle. But with so much power tied to these signs, it was only a matter of time before it was abused. Omen manipulation became a potent political weapon. Ambitious leaders would twist signs to influence public opinion or discredit their rivals. False prophets would spread fear to gain power. Cunning ogres used their authority to destroy their enemies. Cicero, one of Rome's greatest thinkers, openly criticized these corrupt practices, but challenging the power of prophecy was a dangerous game. His enemies used fake prophecies to turn the public against him, and soon after, he was hunted down and executed. In Rome, divination could make an emperor, and it could just as easily doom one. So just how deeply did these beliefs affect everyday Roman life? The answer is everywhere and in everything. Romans consulted omens before getting married, before making a business deal, before traveling, and even before planting their crops. A simple sneeze at the wrong moment could bring a conversation to a halt. The strange call of an animal at night might convince someone to stay indoors. The sound of thunder during a speech was interpreted as divine anger, and the event would end immediately. This was an empire celebrated for its logic, engineering, and strategy, yet it was equally and profoundly devoted to signs and symbols. This brings us to the final, fascinating question. Was any of it real? Is there any logic behind these ancient predictions? Well, maybe. Some augury practices might have been based on observing subtle weather patterns that birds are sensitive to. Some haruspicy readings might have inadvertently detected diseased animals, preventing outbreaks in the herd. And dreams, as we know today, can certainly reveal our deepest fears, instincts, and subconscious thoughts. But the deeper truth is this: humans, no matter the era, have always craved a glimpse into the future. The Romans had their omens. We have our data charts and stock market predictions. They read animal livers. We read complex algorithms. They trusted the words of oracles. We put our faith in AI and probability models. We use different tools, but the fundamental desire is exactly the same: to know the unknown and to feel some sense of control over our destiny. And that's why Roman divination is so captivating. Because when you look closely, we aren't so different from them. We are all searching for signs. We are all listening for meaning in the chaos. We are all just trying to understand what comes next. In the ancient world, the gods were always watching. Maybe, in our own way, we believe they still are. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the world of Roman omens fascinating, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into history's strangest secrets. See you next time.